Now, Ask Dr. Love with psychotherapist, author, love and relationship expert, Dr. Jamie Turndorf. For expert advice on love and relationships, you can submit your questions online at AskDrLove.com or call 866-338-9663 during the live broadcast. You can also listen live and download the free show at Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Now, here's Dr. Love.
Welcome to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf, and it is my pleasure to be with you again this week. So I have a really great show for you, and I just want to tell you, first of all, think about this question, because this question is going to be answered before this day is done. Are you unconscious? And I don't mean are you unconscious as in passed out on the floor. You're going to see what I mean, because we're going to talk about whether you are spiritually awake and conscious and tuned into your higher consciousness with the legendary Bernie Siegel, MD. And for many, Dr. Bernie Siegel needs no introduction. He's touched the lives of people all over our planet. And Dr. Bernie prefers to be called Bernie, so from here on in I'm going to say Bernie. He's been named one of the top 20 spiritually influential people living on the planet. Back in 1978, he created the Exceptional Cancer Patients, or ECAP program, based on what he calls carefrontation, a safe, loving, therapeutic confrontation which facilitates personal lifestyle changes, personal empowerment, and healing of an individual's life. And the physical, spiritual, and psychological benefits that followed led to his desire to make everyone aware of his or her healing potential. And he realized exceptional behavior in all his patients, and this is really his mission, to help the whole world realize what you are capable of. Bernie's the author of the classic Love, Medicine, and Miracles, as well as Peace, Love, and Healing, How to Live Between Office Visits, Prescriptions for Living, Help Me to Heal, 365 Prescriptions for the Soul, 101 Exercises for the Soul, Smudge Bunny, so many other books. If I continue on and on, I'll be spending the whole show introducing him. But I want to talk about his most recent book, Love, Animals, and Miracles, which contain heartwarming, inspiring, and informative stories about life. So, Bernie, are you with me? Did you plot?
Yes, I'm with you.
You're with me.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. You know, we started our conversation a few weeks ago when I was a guest on your show, and that was it. We just said, let's continue, come back to Ask Dr. Love. So I want to talk about higher consciousness, because I know you and I both believe that this is the key to unlock our ability to speak with spirit and animals. It's the key to healing ourselves and others. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, you know what is fascinating, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross became a friend helping me get through the pain of being a doctor who couldn't cure everything. And something that isn't confronted in medical school, nor is consciousness. Once I start talking, all these thoughts come back in my head. Close to 100 years ago, Carl Jung interpreted a dream and diagnosed a man's brain tumor. See? And, my thought, when I read that, it's like, wow. I had gotten into dreams and drawings. And it's why don't we get told that in medical school? I've never met a doctor who was ever told that in all their years of training. See?
And that the unconscious knows everything. It knows everything. Right.
Yeah, I learned to say to patients, have you had a dream? And also in the drawings, people will draw anatomy.
Right.
Let me give you a simple example so people know what I mean. I was called to see a man who was jaundiced. The cause was not yet ascertained. Did he need surgery? Were bile ducts blocked? What was it? Was it his liver? And I see a picture on his nightstand, and I pick it up. He had just drawn it with a pencil. And it was a tree with branches that were only as thick as the lead on the pencil, a wide trunk, and then instead of a root system, the trunk was attached to like one tube-like root, like a T would be if it were ducts or channels, or pipes. And I looked at him and I said, you don't need a surgeon. He looks at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, there's no blockage here to the flow. The problem is in your bile ducts. Look at the little branches on the tree. And he indeed had a disease called sclerosing cholangitis. Now, I put that drawing in his chart. See, because then other doctors couldn't deny it. They'd go, wow, hey, that's interesting. And then it catches on. And I even talk to people under anesthesia. Again, why? They're anesthetized. How are they going to know? Well, the anesthesiologist used to say to me, haven't I given them enough anesthesia? Is something wrong? Why are you talking? I said, no, I want them to know what's going on, that everything's fine. I would even begin to say to patients, I want your pulse to be 85. And it would go to 85 on the monitor.
Exactly.
And that's when everybody's eyes would pop. And even correcting arrhythmias. You're on a swing, a nice, steady rhythm.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
So
absolutely right.
Consciousness is always present. You can communicate with other people, with animals. It's all there. I mean, in some studies, patients who felt their doctors were more compassionate, what they sensed about their doctor, recovered faster from the disease. I think they were all flu cases, than people who said, my doctor wasn't very nice, wasn't listening to me. So that is affecting us at all levels.
Well, in that case, it's the connection and the love. Right, that is so healing. Consciousness, you think about this topic of consciousness, to me, our abilities are really fortified as we tap into the higher consciousness. We become a conduit for this universal wisdom. So, for example, last week I had a patient who said, my daughter's baby was born jaundiced, and the baby's in the hospital. I don't know what's wrong. They don't know what's wrong. So I've always been able to do distance healings and hands-on healing. So I sat down and I did a distance healing on the baby. And a couple hours later, I get a call, the jaundice is gone. We know stories about this. We hear it all the time, over and over and over. So, to me, that's about somehow leaving the body, going energetically, just bringing that love energy, just becoming an open channel for the universal love, God's love, whatever you want to call it, and just sending that energy to the baby.
Well, I add these words. I say it's loving, intelligent, conscious energy.
It's beautiful.
And all those things go into creation. I mean, yesterday I happened to be flipping the TV, and on public, television, there was this a program about basically creation, that we're billions of years old.
Yeah,
the planet.
I know.
And I mean, I just sat there in awe of what it was like 3 or 4 billion years ago versus today. And you have to understand, intelligence is present. I mean, all of the minerals, how oxygen was created, it wasn't here to begin with. And one thing after another, and then life is created. And I use the word potential all the time. It's our potential. It's built into us.
Right.
We can alter genes. We can do all kinds of things. But you have to give the correct message to your body, because there's a chemistry within us.
That's so true. It's so correct. And, I'll hear patients say things like, oh, this is going to kill me. I said, don't say that. The unconscious listens, and you turn on genes, that don't have to be expressed. And, Yeah,
you see, I mean, people have to understand your body is trying to do you a favor. So on Monday morning, we have more heart attacks, strokes, suicides, and illnesses. And I really feel that you get up in the morning, and it's Monday, and your body says, okay, we won't go through this again. We'll have a heart attack today, and you'll be free.
Yeah.
Because
everything is
people also have to understand the consciousness survives. The body doesn't. So when you leave your body, you're perfect again. There's a wonderful story by William Saroyan in which a young man has no money, starving. He just lies down to die. And the last 3 words in the story are, it's called The Young Man on the Flying Trapeze. See, a trapeze to God. That's what death is. He becomes dreamless, unalive, perfect. And people have to realize that. When you leave your body, you're perfect again.
Absolutely. You know, Bernie, this happened in my office to confirm what you're saying. A little girl comes in and she's weeping and she says, my doggie just died. I don't say died anymore. I say left his body because we just shed the turtle shell of our bodies, and there we are, pure energy. She said, could you please help me talk to my doggie? So I instantly see a yellow dog, and I say, well, is the doggie yellow? No, she says. I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm slipping, right? The next thing I see, Bernie, is another dog, and this dog is showing me two huge, big front paws. And he just keeps proudly showing me this. So I say to her, this dog that I'm seeing now is showing me these giant front paws. She bursts into tears, and she says the doggie who just died had no front paws. So it was so beautiful that he was saying, look, I'm healed. I'm perfect. And then she says, oh, the yellow dog was the doggie who left before him. So he came as an ambassador leading the way. But it was so beautiful, and it confirms what you're saying. When we leave the physical body behind, we're perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of blind people who were very upset when they didn't die. You know what I mean? They had near-death experiences.
Yeah.
There was a book written called Mind Sight. And, well, imagine, because one of them touched me. He was in an auto accident. He was blind. I mean, he wasn't driving, obviously. But it was in the fall. And he said when he came out of his body and saw the beauty of the fall, I mean, he was so upset to not die.
That's right.
And now be blind again and not see all this beauty.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying, because it's the, you know, my old grandpa said once, when one friend after another left his body, he said, they're so fortunate they get to be out of their bodies and free, you know, and out of pain and no more physical suffering. And this is the promise, you know. And, you know, my husband always said to me as soon as he left his body, Jamie, death is an illusion. There's a very thin veil between the realm where you are and the realm where I am. I'm standing right here. You know, his whole point to us is we don't need to wait until we die, quote unquote die, to reconnect with our loved ones in spirit. Reconnect now with them. Live heaven now. And experience that joy. And oh gosh, Bernie, I have to take a break. You and I could just go without a break for about 5 hours, I think.
I know. You know, for people to realize the stories we tell are the truth.
I know. I'll be back with you in a moment, and we'll tell more stories. I want to hear about it. Yeah. I'll be back with you in a moment on Ask Dr. Love Radio.
Ask Dr. Love is now on the Dream Vision 7 radio network every second and fourth Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dr. Jamie Turndorf, a.k.a. Ask Dr. Love, is a psychotherapist, author, love and relationship expert who offers advice and answers to your relationship questions. Hear about Dr. Love's groundbreaking new Dialoguing with the Departed technique that enables you to reconnect and make peace with a loved one. This show is for you, the listener, and Dr. Love wants to hear from you. Call 866-338-9663 or 617-237-1234.
The pressure is on. Can you feel it? Life as we've known it is no longer working. Why? We are awakening. The true core self is alive within us now and has a new life to live. What does this mean? How do we live from here? Join us live every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern as spiritual embodiment coach and trainer Ambu Jam Rose explains this mass awakening. Ambu Jam's direct approach teaches you how to navigate this new wild ride, educates you on how to strengthen your spiritual core, and takes your calls for personal spiritual core training. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Life. We can either be bystanders or creators. Now is the time to awaken to your divine identity and the power of the I Am within. to create a joyous and fulfilled life, no matter what your circumstances are. There are answers to life's big questions, and there is a spiritual path that leads to soul liberation and ascension. Join us every third Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for Prophets for the New Age with Carl and Nancy Showalter on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. AskDrLove.com is the web's premier relationship advice site since 1995. Visit AskDrLove.com to search thousands of Dr. Love's relationship advice columns or submit a question to her free advice column. Don't be shy. Dr. Turndorf wants to help you. So take advantage of this unique opportunity to get a personal answer from one of today's most respected experts. This show is for you, the listener. So if you have a question for her, call in during the live show broadcast or catch the show every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern Time on DreamVision7Radio.com. Now, back to Dr. Love.
Welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf. I'm talking with the legendary Dr. Bernie Siegel about consciousness and higher consciousness and how we can tune into the spirit realm and animals and our healing potential. So, Bernie, you know, one of the things I loved about Love, Animals, and Miracles was the way you revealed your life in the Siegel Zoo. Because a lot of people didn't know this.
Right.
That you live this incredible oneness with the animals.
Yes.
You know,
I mean,
and this is it, right?
Every animal in our house, and that goes from a snake who was named Monty Python to a turtle who was named Paris. I mean, everybody had a name.
Yeah.
And we're talking about quail, ducks, geese, mice, exotic pets, birds, skunks, squirrels, everything that was given to us to take care of, as well as yard full of creatures that were fenced in. But it as I say, when you're all family, they respond that way to you.
Absolutely.
And,
now, Bernie, you talk to your animals, as I do, whether they're wild or whether you talk to them. People don't understand that when we're talking about energetic communication, we send signals from brain to brain.
We're talking. Let me say this, because one of the key themes, Amelia Kincaid, the animal intuitive, when I first met her many, many years ago in an elevator at a conference, I thought she was nuts. Because I said, "Hi, why are you here?" "Oh, I'm an animal intuitive." "Oh, come on, lady, you talk to animals." Well, Amelia has told me where to find lost pets in Connecticut while she has been in California and Africa.
Right.
So, but the key, I always hear her saying to me, "Bernie, calm down, quiet your mind. You'll get in the animal's head." Because, like most pet owners, you can't find your animal. You start yelling their name and running around, you know, in a crazy manner. Because, oh my God, where are they? Where'd they go? But when I quiet my mind, I'm in their heads. And let me give you an example that I had to laugh at.
I know this.
We had a
house. I love to hear it. Yeah.
We had a house rabbit named Smudge, and I would go out in the front yard to bring her in when it began to get dark because I worried about her. I mean, it's a fenced-in yard, but I worried some predator might jump the fence and go after her. But she would always run around the yard and drive me crazy. And I thought, you know, why is she doing this? So in my head, I said to her, "Why don't you let me bring you in?" And I couldn't believe her answer. "You don't treat the cats that way." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You let the cats stay out at night." I said, "Yeah, I don't worry about them. They could climb a tree, you know, protect themselves." From that night on, she let me pick her up.
Yeah.
And another that really touched my heart, again, consciousness. First, I wrote a book called Buddy's Candle. I've also written a book called Smudge Bunny. But Buddy's Candle was to help people deal with the loss of a loved one, be it a pet or a person. And when I finished the book, I went into the house with our dog, Furphy, to go for a walk. And I heard a voice. And I hear voices. And the voice said, "Go to the animal shelter." So I put the dog in the car. We drove to the shelter. I walk in. There's a dog sitting right at the door. What immediately came out of me was, "What's his name?" They said, "His name is Buddy. He's been here less than 15 minutes. I said, "I'm here to take him home."
Right.
On the way home, he jumped out of the car when I stopped to get gas. I won't go into all the details, how much trouble we had catching him, bringing him back. But again, when I got home, I hear Amelia say, Bernie, calm down. So I said to him, why did you do that? He said, I belonged to a couple. The husband was an alcoholic. When he'd come home from work, the wife would say, take the dog for a walk. He would lock me in the car and go in and drink in a bar. And then he'd be drunk and he'd abuse me, and I never want to be in a car. A few weeks later, after I promised him I would never treat him that way, I accidentally left my car door open by hitting the button on the key where the door opens
He went right in, right?
I came back to the car, and Buddy is sitting in an open car waiting for me.
Right. You understood him because you know, we speak through the words of our heart. He felt you, he understood you. And I have done a lot of experiments with this, you know, with my husband as witness when he lived in a body. And we did experiments where I said to him, I can talk to any species of animal. And he was very skeptical about this. And first we were in a park called Bartholomew's Cobble. It's in Western Mass. And I said, I'm going to call the birds by species. And he just looked at me because the woods were silent. And I said, okay, cardinals, come to me. And in the distance, I hear the cardinals' flight song. And they landed on the branch right next to me. And his mouth was dropping open, right? So now I said, I'm going to call a titmouse. And I go, little titmouse, little titmouse. And then the next thing we know, a titmouse landed right on the branch in front of me and goes, which is the sound they make. And then I said, I'm going to do the chickadee. And again, a chickadee lands. And he said, I'm convinced you're sending energetic frequencies that they understand. So we go to France, and we're in a field, and I see a bunch of ducks. So I say to Jean, listen, these ducks don't speak English. These are French ducks. And we're laughing because ducks don't speak French either, right? But I said, I'm going to tell them silently to come over to me, and all of them should open their bills once in unison to say hi to me. So I silently do. They all come running over, and they all open their bills once. So we really concluded through all the experiments that I talk about in Love Never Dies that the animals can understand our energetic communications, and we can understand theirs. Yeah. You tuned in.
Yeah, I was going to say we all speak the same language.
Love.
Yeah.
Love, right?
Yeah, that's why I say let your heart make up your mind. I mean, you use that expression that when you're speaking from that, you know, not the intellect, but coming from the heart, from consciousness, whatever word. It's hard to have a word that really describes it. Then we all communicate at that same level.
Yes, and it's an energetic vibration that animals understand. I believe that this is behind the distance healings I do, or when I lay hands. It's all the same thing. You know, I always say, and I'm sure you agree, this life is our love lab. We're just here to perfect our ability to love ourselves and others. And, I mean, I love in your book where you said, you were talking about the best medicine is love. And you tell the story where this other person said, well, what if it doesn't work?
Right.
And
you
the other person said,
dose.
yes. Isn't that great? I love
that. I'm just rereading a book put together by anthropologist Ashley Montague called The Practice of Love. If people want to learn about love, read that book. I mean, it's... I don't know whether it was first printed in the 1970s, but it has lots of research with monkeys and you know, with people. But people don't really understand the incredible impact love has, especially on the child or newborn. Well, again, consciousness. You know, you mentioned our house was a zoo. All the eggs that hatched in our house hatched in an incubator. You know, we didn't leave them in the nest. We would bring them in and incubate them.
Right.
And so all the creatures thought our children were their parents because when they'd hatch, they'd imprint on the kids.
Right.
And the relationship was amazing. I mean, the ducks and geese literally would follow the kids down the driveway and try to go to school with them and get on the school bus.
I love that. And then you said that when you moved them...
Yeah, we put them in a lake at my parents' house.
They followed another school bus.
They would see... Yeah, my mother called me. Actually, what happened was I got a phone call with my mother. I have a question for you from our neighbors. What is it? Every time a school bus pulls up, all the ducks and geese come out of the lake and up to the bus. I said, Ma, they're looking for our kids. But that impressed me, how that love, you know, that connection is made and is never forgotten.
I know. It's so beautiful. And, we can love strangers and strange animals. I was sitting at the Hudson River one day. Again, you know how you're so tuned into higher consciousness, so you get led where you're supposed to go.
Right.
And I was just told, go to the river. So I go, and I'm sitting down, and the next thing I know, I look over, and I see a baby starling is lying on the ground, and all these other birds are biting and attacking him. And it's obvious it's a very small baby, and I think it must have, I don't know, fallen out of the nest, or did the mother throw it out? Because I had heard that when they're unwell, they'll throw them out. So I call my sister, who loves birds as much as I do, and she says, oh, leave it alone. It was dumped from the nest. But my heart was telling me this isn't true. This bird has been, fell out and is too little to get back up. So I was so upset for the way the bird was being attacked. I get a box. I put the bird in the box, and the bird is looking so bad, just shaking and trembling and traumatized. And I find a bird rehabilitator in Connecticut about an hour and 45 minutes away. And as I'm driving, the bird is listening to me speak. And I'm just saying, it's all right. You're going to be okay. I'm going to take you to somebody who can help you. And gradually the bird's eyes opened, and the bird stopped shaking. And I finally got the bird to the rehabilitator, and the bird made it. It was such a beautiful experience,
Well, it's all the connection. Our daughter,
yes.
I think this was mentioned in the book too,
yes,
rescued a bird, and we had it in the house, feeding it, taking care of it, and then when the wing, healed and was working again, we put it outside. But what again impressed me, it didn't leave the front yard. It sat in the tree. And every morning we went out to serve it breakfast, room service. But I thought, wow, again, it's connected to my daughter.
Exactly. Bernie, I have to take a break or they're going to kill me.
All right.
I'm going to come back. Then I'll have to speak to you from spirit. So I'll take a break. I'll be back in a moment with Ask Dr. Love Radio.
Tired of having more month than money? Maybe it's time to make a change. The Money Nerve Radio Show provides tools for you to manage your money and reduce your stress. Listen to the Money Nerve Radio Show with Bob Wheeler the fourth Sunday of each month at 6 p.m. Eastern. Visit themoneynerve.com to download smart financial tools. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Join us on Creating a Spirited Life with Janet Kesenick the third Sunday of every month at 8 p.m. We'll explore the day-to-day moments that puzzle, enlighten, and bring us into deeper connection with our best selves. Find meaning, purpose, and humor while creating a spirited life. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Join Dr. Bernie Siegel on Mind Health Matters every first Sunday at 8 p.m., all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. Bernie will draw from his inspirational personal journey, offering us special nuggets of his sacred wisdom. Listen in as Bernie reminds us to be fully engaged in life.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you yearn to get along better with your life partner or spouse, friends, family members, or even coworkers, Dr. Turndorf's Hay House book, Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, Dr. Love's 10 Simple Steps to Cooling Conflict and Rekindling Your Relationship, shows you how to turn conflict into connection for a lifetime of lasting love. Find out more about this book at AskDrLove.com. This is Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. This show is for you, the listener, and Dr. Love wants to hear from you. You can submit your questions at AskDrLove.com. Or if you're listening in real time, you can speak to Dr. Turndorf live by calling 866-338-9663. To listen live and download the free archive show, go to DreamVision7Radio.com. You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. Once again, here's Dr. Love.
Welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf. I'm talking with the wonderful Dr. Bernie Siegel, talking about his latest book, which I adore. You know, Bernie, I'm an animal freak. So I, of course, love speaking about all your animal stories. You were saying how your daughter rescued the bird before we took the break.
Yeah, and it took about a week or so for the bird to finally leave. I figured it must have found a girlfriend by then, and went off with other birds. But it was so attached to us, just letting it go, it didn't go. You know, we had become family. And it's that kind of relationship, that kind of personal connection that happens.
Right. And I love what you're saying.
Let me add this, too.
Go ahead.
Because if people are sitting there saying, oh, that's crazy, that's a coincidence, keep an open mind. I always say, if I experience something, I believe it. Because there are a lot of things I didn't believe until I experienced it.
That's exactly it.
Then I knew this is the truth, and I can't deny it anymore. I mean, even though I can't explain it, I always say, if you're an Einstein, like the universe is billions of years old, who can explain it? That doesn't mean we don't exist. So keep your mind open. I had a patient come into me one day and said, I've learned that you're not a normal doctor, so I have a message from a dead gentleman named Frank. And she didn't know who he was. She just said, I asked for a message for you. And I knew it was a doctor friend named Frank who had died. And she said, here's the message. If I'd known it was this easy, I would have bought the package a long time ago and not have resisted so much.
It's so true.
I said, thank you.
True.
And I called Frank's wife. I said, I don't want to upset you, but one of my patients is a mystic and a medium and brought me a message from Frank. And I'm sure it's Frank, your husband, so can I tell it to you? She said, sure, go ahead. And I said, if I'd known it was this easy, I'd have bought the package. And she bursts out, oh, my God. I said, what are you talking? What's the matter? Am I upsetting you? No. Every time we'd leave one of your support group meetings, he'd say, I can't buy the package. And this mystic, her name is Monica. I mean, I now tell people, you want to, your loved one has died, here's Monica's phone number.
Well, now you have to tell them they have to connect with Dr. Love.
All right. But as a matter of fact, I did. I gave your book to somebody whose wife had died, and he had sent me, at the holiday season, a picture of his son and himself. Now, the years have gone by. I said, you have to read this book, that your wife is still with you. And I mailed him your book.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
It's so true. And, that's why, as I say, when people say, I lost a loved one, I say, here's a phone number. Because, and again, what impresses me, Monica does not know the people she calls me about.
Of course.
My parents died several years ago. The phone rings. It's Monica. Hi, you folks are together again. Now, how the hell does she know that? It's like 2 days after my mother dies, she calls me and tells me they're together. And that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is showing them around.
Yeah, she's the tour guide,
I have to
right?
say, blows my mind because Monica does not know my parents, doesn't know I knew Elizabeth, and here she is. So that's why I say I believe. And I may add, just on a personal level, at age 4, I had a near-death experience choking on a toy.
Where you choked on the baby toy.
Yeah.
Oh, and, it was a toy phone. A toy phone.
Yeah, I had taken it apart. I was imitating some carpenters who were working in our house. They had put nails in their mouth in those days. And so I put these pieces in my mouth and aspirated them. Now, just like you were saying, what were the first words out of my mouth when I didn't die? Who did that? I was mad as hell.
Right. It
because
felt so
my
wonderful.
consciousness was saying, hey, this is wonderful. I don't want to go back. I'm sorry my parents will be upset. And I did a lot of children's surgery. I've had other children who've said to me, too, the only thing that upset them and why they want to come back is because they didn't want to hurt their parents.
Right.
But almost every one of them voted, I'd rather be dead because it was so damn interesting at age 4.
That's so true. And I actually thought when I read that story about your near-death and your out-of-body experience, I thought that your ability to tune to higher consciousness was born out of that experience.
Oh, I think so.
Absolutely.
I assumed it was normal. I mean, this was many years ago. You know, it wasn't when near-death experiences or something you talked about. So, you know, as a 4-year-old, my thought was, okay, everybody must know about this. If it happened to me, it must have happened to a lot of other people.
No,
so I didn't bring it up to my parents or say we need to write a book about this. It was just, okay, this is normal.
This was your destiny, and it was part of a soul pact. And the fact that you had the miraculous vomiting that pushed the pieces out, that was a miracle, too.
Yeah, I really feel it was like a Heimlich maneuver, that I have an angel, and I do.
Absolutely. The angel did that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to give you some humor first. I have come close to dying 4 or 5 times. You know, terrible automobile accidents, falling off the roof of the house, things like that.
Yeah.
And I said, I must have an angel. And the guy came up after a lecture I gave and said, you have an angel, I know his name. I said, really? He said, yeah, what did you say when the ladder broke and you fell off the roof? I said, oh, shit. He said, that's his name.
They're going to beep. That's his name.
Well, I have to tell you, that has kept me from a lot of injuries because when I yell that, I start laughing, and then I fall or whatever happens, and I'm so relaxed I don't get hurt. But let me say this, which again blew my mind. I was doing a meditation at a conference, and the gentleman leading it said, you will go on a path and you'll meet an inner guide. And, you know, I was expecting some impressive person, hey, I'm a doctor, but this fellow walks up named George. That's what he told me his name was. He had a funny little cap on and robes and garments that I didn't understand either. But we talked. And to make a long story short, 2 people have seen him standing next to me while I was speaking. And the second one, and they've drawn his picture. I mean, he has a beard and, you know, his cap on his head, all these things that are not a normal-looking guy. And the second one was the mystic Al Gore, who was a friend of mine. I spoke at a Christian funeral on a Sunday, and she came up to me after it and said, Bernie, are you Jewish? I said, why are you asking? I said, because I spoke at a Christian funeral. She said, no, there's a rabbi standing next to you. And it was George. That's when I realized all his clothing, that what he was wearing was his outfit.
And he also had ear locks. You see that?
Pardon?
He has ear locks. Can you see that?
Yeah.
He actually has ear locks.
Yes.
That's how I see him.
I mean, he has this full head of hair, beard,
And the ear locks.
You know, the cap was a prayer cap, the yarmulke.
Yeah. He has ear locks, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. But the other thing that impressed me, I'm in Stop and Shop, and a lady, and I always tease everybody and have a lot of fun.
You're in Stop and Shop, and he said to you, "Don't buy pork." No,
he didn't.
Really,
but
sorry.
I mean, but those are the kinds of crazy things I would do. You see, and somebody said, "Oh, hi, Dr. Siegel." I said, "Hey, look, when I'm acting silly, don't call out my name. People don't have to know it's me." And I said, "Give me another name." In 2 seconds, she said, "Okay, George."
George, there it is.
Now, you know, think of all the available male names, and she picks out George in 2 seconds.
Right.
And that's the part that makes me a believer. You know.
So you know what the point is? If you can't understand it and you can't fathom it, you know it's of the divine. Don't even try to understand it. Just accept.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah. One day, see, also the happiness it can bring you and the help. The day my father said he was ready to die, and we called everybody in the family, said, Grandpa's dying today, are you going to come? And we knew who was coming. That morning I went out, going down the street quietly, meditating, and a voice said to me, how did your parents meet? I said, I don't know. Ask your mother when you get to the hospital. When I walked in the hospital room, what again popped out of my mouth, how did you two meet? Well, the punchline of the story my mother told was that she was with a bunch of girls with a terrible reputation. She didn't know them because she was on vacation. And she said, coming down the beach were a bunch of boys. They tossed coins. Your father lost and got me. Well, she went on telling stories. My father died laughing looking so healthy, I thought he was going to tell us, I'm sorry I got you to come. I feel too good to die today.
Right.
Now, when did he die, though? The other thing that impressed me, he has no way of knowing who's coming, who could come, who can't. But when the last person on the list of who is coming walked in, and we said her name, he took his last breath and died. And I don't think that was a coincidence either.
There are no coincidences. They say coincidence is spirit's way of remaining anonymous.
Yep.
Right?
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross always with her accent, Bernie, there are no coincidences.
Exactly.
Well, you know how we're talking now? I had driven...
Wait, Bernie,
Elizabeth
hold it. We got to go to a break.
Another break?
Back,
okay, we'll come back.
All right, and then you'll tell me. I'll be back in a moment on Ask Dr. Love Radio.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show every first and third Sunday, 9 to 10 p.m. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Every first and third Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m. All part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Tune in every first Sunday at 6 p.m. for Maximum Success, the Coach Bruce Show. You'll learn success strategies to take your game to the next level from performance consultant John Brubaker. Maximum Success explores why winners win and teaches you the keys to peak performance. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Join us every second Sunday at 7 p.m. for Living on Purpose with Carolyn Romano, where we explore the mysteries, meaning, and sometimes madness of life. Let's figure out together the ways we're meant to serve and become the fullest expressions of our most authentic selves. Let's figure out together how to create lives of balance, abundance, and joy. This program is part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. If you or someone you know has lost a loved one, Dr. Turndorf's best-selling Hay House book, Love Never Dies, How to Reconnect and Make Peace with the Deceased, presents her groundbreaking new trans-dimensional grief therapy method, which offers the first vehicle in history for reconnecting and making peace with the deceased. Sign up for Dr. Love's free newsletter at AskDrLove.com and receive an exciting gift. A free excerpt of Love Never Dies. Now, back to Dr. Love.
Welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf. I'm talking with the legendary Bernie Siegel, MD. So, Bernie, what were you about to say?
Yeah, Elizabeth, I got her to speak at Yale, and then I drove her to the airport. And matter of fact, the first hospice was here in Branford, Connecticut, that she got involved in, and I was too. And so I'm driving her to the airport, and we're a little early, so we go in the cafeteria, and we start talking the way you and I are talking about all these spirits and, all this stuff. And I noticed everybody in the cafeteria that was sitting near us left their table and moved further away. Because
they didn't want to get
this was a lot of years ago, and I was sure they were all thinking, these psychotic people, what are they doing, out of the asylum? Right. And I used to do it in the operating room too. I've said to people, it's not your time yet, come on back, and have their hearts start beating again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, that may sound crazy to you, but I always felt, what do I got to lose,
Absolutely, right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about something that very few people, you and I are out in the outer stratosphere in this conversation. How Jung said the future is unconsciously prepared long in advance,
right,
and therefore it can be guessed by clairvoyance.
Yep.
So a lot of times I was thinking, and I talk about this in Love Never Dies, how the reason we can see into the future is because it's already happened. So we really have an out-of-body experience. We take a trip into the future, we see what's coming down the pike for us, and we return to our bodies. So a lot of times people will say, well, how does that jive with questions like free will? Because, when I say there are these major events and they're written, how does that work? You know, for people who think about the power of intention and the law of attraction, and you can make your future. How do you coincide? How do you jive these two different concepts?
It's your consciousness that's creating the future. So
that's how you
it's
look
not
at
that you don't have free will. You can change your mind. I always say to people, you can change your life or your attitude. So,
but listen, wait a minute. I'm going to be the devil's advocate on this, because stay with me on this one. September 17th is the date that Jean left his body. Now, I did not realize until after he left his body, I'm going through papers, and I find a love note that he wrote to me, dated September 17th, 30 years earlier. And in the note he wrote, "I'm free to be with you if you will have me." And then as I'm going through the papers some more, I discover that the newspapers worldwide announced the famous Father Pan left the Jesuit order and the priesthood, and the date of those articles where he left the order was September 17th. And Jean told me that his father left his body on the very day that the papers announced he was leaving the Jesuit order and the priesthood. So it looked to me very clearly like the future was already written. That date had a meaning, right?
That's right.
Right?
Yes,
so
numbers have quantity and meaning.
Right. So did he... Somebody said to me, "Oh, this was a divine death. You know, your entire life with him is part of the divine ministry. He had to leave his body so that then you would work with him from spirit." So in that respect, I see no free will in it. It was just written. That was the day he was going to leave his body. Do you see what I'm saying? The day his father left his body, the same month and day. Same month and day the papers announced worldwide that he left the Jesuit order. The same month and day he wrote to me and said, "I'm free to be with you." So do you think that he chose the dates?
No. You see, there's a difference between knowing something's going to happen and choosing it.
Exactly.
All right? See, I see on drawings, there's past, present, and future in them. And I learned a lot of this from Elizabeth and from Susan Bach, who wrote a book called Life Paints Its Own Span, Drawings by Children with Leukemia. She knew Jung, and I was with her in London many times learning from her. And I may add, I always hear her say, "Bernie, Jung was fascinated by the somatic aspects." I said he knew anatomy. He saw the body in the drawings, too. But
That's
what
right.
I'm saying is this, that, I'll give you an example. It's simple. A child with cancer drew a purple balloon heading up into the sky with her name on it.
Mm-hmm.
See,
so
and then there were
knew.
pretty dots all around it, very colorful. And I said to the mother, "She's ready to go.
Yeah.
Look at this, the spiritual color purple heading out of the picture." I said, "I don't know what the dots are about. It didn't fit with it, all this beautiful decoration." But the mother said, "Okay, I'll take her home from the hospital." I got a phone call a couple of weeks later. "Bernie, today's my birthday. Amber woke up and said, 'Mom, I'm dying today as a gift to you to free you from all the trouble.'" Now, when we counted those dots, those were exactly the number of days left in our life. Now,
absolutely.
That's not a coincidence. And,
nope.
It's Amber's choice. But I have to say, it's her free will. But at the same time, Amber could have said, "I'm not going to die today. I don't want to spoil your birthday," and waited a day. But all the numbers, as I said, numbers, quantity, and meaning.
Oh, they always have a meaning, yeah.
Yeah, that's how a matter of fact, how we store our memories is through numbers. I mean, in my book, The Art of Healing, for an example, a reporter came in who didn't believe any of this stuff we're talking about. Right. And, I knew this interview was going to be so uncomfortable for me. I said to her, "Do me a favor, draw a picture, and then we'll talk." She came in. There's a clock behind her with one hand pointed at 12. So to shake her up, I didn't say, "Why is 12 important?" I just said, "What happened when you were 12 years old?" I don't like deadlines. I said, "Excuse me, there's one hand on the clock." And she burst into tears and told me what happened when she was 12 years old.
When she was speaking, her unconscious was communicating to you, sending out a flare, begging you to ask her so that she could talk about it and heal.
Yeah,
it's
all
beautiful.
part of the process.
It is so beautiful. Did you know Lou Armand?
No.
Because Lou Armand was the founder of modern group psychoanalysis, And because you do so much group work, I thought perhaps your paths crossed.
No, it's interesting that, remember, I was trained as a surgeon.
I know.
And I began to find more support from psychiatrists than I did from, oncologists, surgeons, internists, because they had, like me, they had never experienced this. Well, the craziness of medicine. I wrote articles because I thought, you're discovering incredible things. I send them to medical journals.
No, they don't want to touch it.
Yeah, they mailed it back saying it's interesting, but it's not appropriate.
Right,
when I mailed it to psychiatry journals, it came back again, but it said the opposite. Yes, it's appropriate, but it's not interesting.
It's really...
that blew my mind. But then again, many psychiatrists became my helpers in the sense of sharing their experience and how the consciousness also affects survival.
But Bernie, the field of psychiatry is still in the Stone Ages and the Dark Ages, because to this day we still have these diagnostic labels, complicated grief syndrome and so on. If you think that you have heard or seen your loved one in spirit, you have hallucinations, and that's complicated grief.
Yeah.
We're
so... Here, the sentence I read somewhere that said it very well for everybody to understand. Doctors are trained to treat the result and not the cause.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a problem, here's your pill.
And we're not even treating with a pill the cause, we're treating a
That's
symptom.
right. We're not treating the person and their experience. I mean, another way that consciousness, I would say to people, tell me, what's it like to be going through what you're going through? A simple example. One woman was in a lot of pain. She said, pressure. She was going to be admitted to the hospital because of severe migraine headaches. I said, what's the pressure in your life?
Right, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
In 15 minutes, the pain was gone and she went home.
Yeah, there's a name for it. It's called a conversion, where we convert. Yeah. Oh, God, Bernie, you and I could just go on forever. The thing is, I want to know, because my husband gave me a message for you about your wife. Do you want me to give it to you?
Yes, go ahead.
He's been telling me, he told me actually before I was on your show, and I didn't say it then, but he's been really leaning on me to tell you this. He wants you to know that he's holding her hand every minute. That's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know, my wife, part of what got me into this is that multiple sclerosis for at least 50 years. What I heard would happen to her didn't happen because I got into all this other stuff. And so I work on healing her every morning and, do things with nutrition. But a lot of the consciousness, yes, I send that energy into her the way healers do.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had an injury that was healed in 5 minutes by, I mentioned that, Olga Worrell. I didn't believe in any of this. My wife said to Olga, can you help my husband? We were at a medical meeting.
I remember that story. I remember reading that. Bernie, it's just tapping into higher consciousness, tapping into the abundance of love.
The energy.
And energy of spirit.
And when your hands get hot,
I know.
You're what I call the battery cables. You're bringing
I'm just a battery cable. Baby, you got to give me a jump start.
All right.
I'm always jumping people with the battery cables. And so I think what we should do is just keep the conversation going. You'll visit me again. I can come back and talk to you some more, because it's such a beautiful time. Tell everybody in the last 2 minutes how to find you, of course. Whatever it is you'd like people to know.
The easiest thing is my website, which is Bernie Siegel, Siegel, MD.
I like it.
.com. And any contact comes to me. So BernieSiegelMD.com. I mean, all books, articles are there. Even one called Deceiving People into Health. How you talk to people. It's just all kinds of stuff that they can look into there.
Yeah. Bernie, I'm so glad that you came and that we got to continue our conversation. It's always a joy being with you.
Well, as the anthropologist Ashley Montague said to me after I spoke one day, he said, I love what you had to say, but you have to understand it's because I agree with you.
That's why you love what I have to. You love being with me because we're on the same wavelength.
Right.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Give my love to your wife also.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll talk
tell
again
your hubby
soon.
to keep, holding hands. All right.
That's what. So what I didn't finish saying was he wanted you to know it's not only that he's holding her hand now while she's still in a body. He said that he wants her and you to know that he will be holding her hand as she transitions out of her body.
Thanks.
So he wanted her to know that.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Take care and just spread love. What else can we do? That's what we're here for. See you next time on Ask Dr. Love. Bye-bye.
This has been Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. Visit Dr. Turndorf at AskDrLove.com. Follow her on Twitter at Ask Dr. Love and on Facebook at /Ask Dr. Love.